always live when Trysta Krick joins us. Live from the BetMGM studios. We ain't seen you there in a minute.
I know I have to record right after this, literally immediately. There was a bunch of other stuff happening, so I recorded the podcast today instead of yesterday. So I did some other things.
Heat Check podcast available wherever you get podcasts from. Are you a little higher on your Portland Trailblazers after watching them? No, not at all.
Are you?
So here's what I said about Portland. I was, I was not high on that team entering this season at all. Here's where I'll give them credit from something that I didn't expect is they played a level of defense that I've never seen them play before. And they were active almost in the same way that the Sacramento Kings played a level of defense we hadn't seen before. They were very active. They were moving around a lot. They were aggressive. They were jumpy. Mike Brown has used the word, physicality a lot. They were just more physical with Sacramento. And I made the concession. I'll admit I'm wrong about Portland if they can maintain something resembling that level of defense throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to do. Like in game 1 against the Sacramento Kings, no shade to the Kings. As you know, I love y'all. And don't get me wrong, like De'Aaron Fox still got his, right? And I think he's going to get his all year long. But truthfully, I just don't see offensively how Portland's going to be able to continue to be at a high level. I think Damian Lillard legit needs to be a top 3 player, not a top 3 guard, but a top 3 player in the league for Portland to contend for the playoffs. So I was encouraged by Shaedon Sharpe the most. He should start. He should honestly start. And Anthony Simons, his ass should be on the bench. Like, that's just facts. I don't think Dame and Anthony Simons should be the backcourt for the Blazers in the starting 5. I just don't think that.
You don't like Anthony Simons, or you don't think they blend well?
I just don't like the whole, I already did the CJ Dame thing. I know what 2 sort of guards of that stature that don't play defense, I know that type of pressure that it puts on the rest of the team, right? So then you've got Nurk. Nurk's the anchor of the defense, and I don't think Nurk is exactly a hard rock, right? So then you've got 3 guys in the starting 5, and Josh Hart, who's awesome, but he's undersized as well. How defensively do you continue to play at a high level with 4 of those 5 guys being of that ilk? I don't know. I don't see it.
Nurk is just so ugly too, man. He was doing and he would go like from 3-point line to the basket in the ugliest fashion, and just there's a bucket for him. He got it, and it's like, man, because I'll like 70 million, huh?
It was just so much money, and it's you just who else were you gonna get? I guess honestly.
Yeah, I guess that's it too.
And we gotta talk about somebody, because I haven't been paying a lot of attention on a night to night, like just zeroing in on him. But for whatever reason, I zeroed in on him, and I didn't know how many people disliked him until I tweeted about this, because I got a bunch of DMs about it. Sabonis is hard to watch.
Okay, elaborate.
Defensively, very hard to watch. Like, it feels like, for whatever reason, and maybe that was just that night, that he was always like 10 feet behind everyone. So like they're out on the break in transition, and you look over, and to the left of your screen on the far left is Sabonis, and there's a big gap of white space between the team and where they are and where Sabonis is. Sabonis finally gets down into the paint. He's out of position because he's there late. Then, because the Kings like to shoot so early in the shot clock, he's now got to go back the other way, but he just got there. So now he's late going the other way. And now offensively, the Blazers are able to do whatever, because defensively, he's late. He's not able to seal off. He's not able to get a rebound. And it was just this ping pong of Sabonis 10 feet behind everyone else, because he was just late to the race.
So Wednesday was pretty ugly. Like, we were actually talking about that right before you joined us, is that was just not the outing from Domantas Sabonis, and De'Aaron Fox even addressed that at practice today. There are things that we have to figure out with him. Like, the preseason games were substantially different. Now, the defensive version of Domantas Sabonis, that has long been the concern. Sure. Like, that's the Mike Brown hire. It's like, all right, are you going to be able to get De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis to be able to play defense the way that you want to? And that's been the question this entire offseason. That's been the question since Mike Brown was hired. Offensively, though, I don't know if Nurkic roughed him up.
Yeah.
Because if he did, that leaves me super concerned going into the Clippers game tomorrow, because I feel like Sabonis could have a tough night going into that Clippers game tomorrow as well.
Zubac looked also bad, even though he had a monster stat line last night. But it's sort of the same thing. I feel like Zubac, if Sabonis doesn't up his game, he's going to get eaten alive because Zubac is bigger. He's going to be a little bit more physical. He's tougher. But just the court awareness has just been something for both of those guys that I noticed in the first game, just like really lacking. Kawhi was yelling at Zubac. Like Sabonis looks like he's 20 pounds lighter than he should be. You know, I can see his little cheekbones. I can see his cheekbones poking out like little triangles from his face. That's not normal for him. He lost a lot of weight in this offseason, did he not?
Well, I mean, he might have been working out with De'Aaron Fox, who knew he had to come in slender this offseason.
Slim man.
But he's also been playing a ton of basketball, so maybe that's a part of it too. I'm give him a pass.
Yeah.
Give him a pass for Wednesday's game, because it was ugly, and I think everyone will admit that that's not what he's here for. You didn't bring him in for that type of game. But man, no. I just think that bounce back, you're going to have to show a completely different side of yourself, because you've got the Clippers on Saturday, and then you got the Warriors on Sunday. Both of those teams are going to be physical with you. And I don't know if it's physicality that took Sabonis out, but his passing, you talk about court awareness, his court awareness really stood out in the preseason. Like, he is a beautiful Vlade Chris type passer.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not Wednesday at all.
I was like, wow, this is a tough watch.
It wound up with the Kings shooting, most of their shots were threes.
I tell you what, did you see I got Rob Pelinka trending today?
Oh Lord, what did you do?
Yeah, I did. I literally, I was like, I never would think that, someone's like, oh, that was you. But if you click on Rob Pelinka, the top tweet is mine. I tweeted last night, if there was a book called... Yeah.
The tweet says, if there was a book called LeBron Teams for Dummies, page 1 would say, surround him with shooters. Somehow Jeannie and Rob Pelinka haven't gotten the memo.
I don't know why that was like such a revelatory tweet. I thought it was a very sort of, we've all been saying this tweet, but I think things are boiling over in Lakerland, and people, it just absolutely got Rob Pelinka trending. So if I could potentially get Rob Pelinka fired, I deserve a medal from the city of Los Angeles doing the Lord's work.
I don't think you can. Rob Pelinka
just got an extension.
Why?
I don't know. We talked about why, I think.
Oh, that's right. The spirit of Kobe. We did talk about that extensively. It was probably the greatest conversation we've ever had in the history of life. So you can see that on youtube.com/ESPN1320. You could see our conversation with Trysta last week. It is phenomenal. Hey, is Daryl Morey channeling Kobe vibes too? Because I'm begging for this Philadelphia 76ers thing to fall apart this early.
Yeah, and it felt like it's gonna, doesn't it? It felt like
100%.
Exactly what, and there's articles coming out where it's like, this is the best version. Is the process completed? Has Joel Embiid finally got the pieces that he needs around him to fully succeed? It's the best, most deepest, proper Sixers team that they've ever had in the Joel Embiid era. And then it's like, my man, you put up 15? It's like, I like this version of James Harden, mid-range James Harden, but this is not a team that is playing any defense either. PJ Tucker, he came in to be a dog. He came in to play defense, and it just has not. Like, I watched that Boston Celtics game, and I was like, man, Sixers look good on offense. Man, they are really moving the ball. Man, James Harden's really cooking. Oh, he's getting these guys involved. Tobias Harris, big game for Tobias Harris. And I would look down and I'd be like, why are they down by 20? Like,
No, that's James Harden. That's exactly who and what James Harden is. His stats, his numbers, they're useless. They're worthless. He's a bag of M&Ms. That's all he is. He is a big bag of empty calories.
The crazy thing was, like, I would see them have possession after possession where they would score, and they weren't, they didn't have a possession where they would miss, and yet somehow the lead kept growing. Like, it was just like somehow Boston was able to get a bunch of 4-pointers that I didn't even know existed.
They channeled the spirit of Larry Bird.
They did. I looked up and I was like, weren't they just down by 6? How are they down by more? And Philly's offense looks like it's clicking to the highest degree. Like, Tobias never has good games like that. What'd you think of Draymond's documentary?
I didn't. It was on while we were doing our show.
You didn't find it on YouTube?
Absolutely not. I did not take the time to go back and watch that.
I think was a bad move, truthfully.
So help me understand. They worked the punch in there, or was this a documentary on the punch, or was it a documentary? What was this? Because I can tell you, I'm never going to watch it.
TNT was already doing something on Draymond, and then Draymond decided he was going to self-produce with Omaha Productions a 7-minute video to insert into that feature about the punch. And there was like this very selfie style, dark sort of viewpoint on him, and a narrator that sounded like the Allstate man. And it was like, Draymond Green has been exiled. In his exile, he prepares for the biggest game. And they've got him on the Peloton. And then he's talking about how he doesn't care what anybody thinks about him, even though he told the world that he listened or watched the TMZ tape for 15 times. But he was like, truthfully, I don't care what anyone thinks, even though I didn't know how people would really feel about it. It gave me big time, we all just want to move on vibes. And yet somehow you spent the 7 days in between the punch and now producing this.
That's incredible.
Not going inward, not self-reflecting, not healing, reaching out to your brothers, not protecting the Warriors organization. No, you went out and got a crew that followed you around while you were quote unquote exiled. You hired a narrator, you contacted Omaha Productions, you contacted TNT, and had this thing played on opening night, on ring night, and the Warriors didn't even know about it.
Here's two things on Draymond. One, I appreciate the fact the people at the Chase Center did not pop for him.
Yeah,
they called his name. They did not. They reacted like they reacted bigger for Zaza Pachulia. They had no reaction for Draymond Green's. I respect that. Two, your thoughts, Trysta Krick, on LeBron and Draymond's Lakers getting their ass kicked late game interaction, their little hug fest on the sideline.
I couldn't understand what it was about. These two guys, and I like them both. I've been on the record about that. Just very tone deaf, not reading the room one bit. Very self-absorbed, non-team player vibes on both sides. LeBron, you shouldn't be doing this right now because people don't even think you care about winning anymore because LA is so sunny and so warm. They think you've forgotten and lost your damn mind and just been like, it's fine. I'm going to make movies and, win the 3-point, win the scoring record. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to break that record and move on. And then Draymond, it's like, yo, you need to lock in with your guys right now. It doesn't make any damn sense what you're doing. Your teammates are looking at you like you got 7 eyeballs. Why are you talking to LeBron James right now? We just brought you back in, and now you're dealing with the enemy. What are you thinking right now? And did you see the photo where they all look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like this whatsoever. And all the news is like things are icy with Draymond and the team, and Jordan Poole has not forgiven him.
Get that dude out of there. I wouldn't forgive him either. Someone said that, maybe it was you. I don't remember who said it. You've just got to fight at this point. That's the only way that this could possibly be fixed is you have to fight.
Except for the Jordan Poole is so much smaller than Draymond Green.
Well, everyone talking about the streets. Everyone had something to say about the streets. Well, if we was in the streets, it would be like this. All right, Jordan, figure it out.
It's time for you to. No, it needs to be like Game of Thrones, where you have a champion.
Be like Ric Flair pulling brass knuckles out of his practice shorts and just drilling him once or something.
It's like, hey, I'm Jordan Poole. I need to have someone to be my fighting champion and fight for me on my behalf. I know that's not how the streets do, but that's how they did in ancient times. And that's how Jordan Poole doesn't get his head knocked off. So if I'm Jordan Poole, listen, my face is filled with money right now. I just got a big contract. I got to make sure my orbital bones stay proper intact so that my 3-point shooting stays afloat.
It's great. You know who that could be? Because he's on the roster now. That could be Iguodala.
Yeah.
I'd watch Iguodala and Draymond Green on a pay-per-view. I'd absolutely watch that.
So this is the new setup or this is the old setup? You guys have the new studio here or what? What's going on?
Well, that's Jesse's studio. No, I'm at home, yeah, because Casey's in Jamaica.
Oh.
So I was like, I'm doing the show solo, so I'm just going to be at home.
Got it.
This is
are you guys going to set up the new studio like this or what?
I don't know what we're doing, man. I know we have to do something about those incredibly white walls behind us, but we don't know what we're doing yet.
Got it. Got it. How are you feeling about CMC?
So that I was going to ask you. I'm all for it. Like I'm down for it. I don't consider moving a bunch of draft picks a high risk. You already didn't have your first round pick. You moved your second. You have like 6 or 7 other picks in those 2 years. I don't care anything about moving on from those. You've got Christian McCaffrey here who could be a major playmaker for you, and you've got him next year. It would be super easy to restructure his deal, take some money off of that, keep him around a while. You're going to sign Nick Bosa to the richest defensive player contract in history. You're set up. Yeah, I love it. Like I'm all for it. Although here's my thing. First, what do you think about it, Trysta?
The thing, I'm of two minds of it, right? On mind one, awesome move, 4D chess to keep the Buffalo Bills from getting Christian McCaffrey and keeping the LA Rams from getting Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. Because listen, we already know what time it is. Shanahan doesn't care about these running backs. He does not care. But if you had a Todd Gurley-esque player inside of the Rams, or if you have the Christian McCaffrey and you're the Rams, now you got problems winning this division now. Now you got problems within your own little neighborhood. So that's piece one. Piece two is I really wonder, because Shanahan always gets his running backs hurt. And Christian McCaffrey, well, he doesn't get them hurt, but you know what I'm saying.
I got you.
Whether it's the scheme, whether it's the field, they manage under Shanahan. Yeah. We don't need to point any blame, but all I'm saying is correlatively, inside the Shanahan scheme, running backs end up on the IR a lot. And that's why you have 4 or 5 of them, right? Jeff Wilson wasn't the starter week 1. That's why we've seen Deebo Samuel play a little running back, play a little wide receiver, play a little running back. And he was like, yeah, I'm not about that. I'm a receiver. You're going to keep me from getting myself injured. So I wonder what that means for a guy who's had injury concerns, hamstrings, soft tissue stuff throughout the course of his career, and whether Shanahan knows, like, this is the guy that doesn't need to be inside of like glass, but you should work harder to protect him because he's not Raheem Mostert. You know what I mean? Like you should maybe scheme to keep him all squared away.
You use him as a slot receiver.
Yeah.
You use him out of the backfield catching passes.
Right.
Because the Christian McCaffrey didn't fix the offensive line. That has virtually been replaced because of injury through the first 6 weeks of the season. Now you'll be getting those guys back, and I think that's the two biggest things. One, you just pointed out, you kept them off the Los Angeles Rams, and two, with the exception of Trey Lance and Emmanuel Mosley on the defensive end, a lot of these guys who are injured are coming back.
Yep.
Like Eric Armstead is going to come back. Trent Williams is going to come back. That offensive line is going to settle back into place, and if you can get things cooking towards the end of this season, similar to what you did last year, like you're in great shape. The one caveat that I've brought up here with this idea is the idea of Christian McCaffrey. He's had one really good season in 6 years. in 6 seasons in the league. He was obviously phenomenal at Stanford, which we all watched up close and personal, and it really was he was the best player in college football, and there was no question about that. But they struggled to figure out a way to get him to work in Carolina. Then when they did, it was immaculate. Then the injury. And then the other injury. And he's played every game so far this year. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but he's played every game so far this year. And it's kind of like, okay, we've seen Christian McCaffrey. We know what Christian McCaffrey could be, but there's not a lot of evidence that is who he is as a player.
Yeah, I mean, and at least we know that Christian McCaffrey has functioned with mediocre quarterbacks because he's going to get somebody better. I think Jimmy G is better than Baker right now. I think Jimmy G is better than Sam Darnold. I think Jimmy G is better than, the ghost of Cam Newton. Not like prime Cam Newton, MVP Cam Newton, but I think he's better than what we saw from Cam Newton. And I think, like, just quite simply, much better play caller in Shanahan than Matt Rule, than Ron Rivera, than any of these jabronis that have been in Carolina.
I know you got to go record some. How do you bet the NFL right now?
So
the NFL is a mess.
I think you got to just take dogs, really take these big underdogs and hold your nose, really, because it's gross. You got to take Houston this week +7. I hate to say it, have to. You just do. Football doesn't make the difference. And I was telling this to my new co-host, PJ, is that basketball is the narratives, the fight, the, evening of the playing field, there is a lot of difference between the Golden State Warriors and the Orlando Magic.
Mm-hmm.
There is less of a disparity between the Houston Texans and we'll call it the 49ers. A much smaller on any given Sunday type of a thing. The season is much shorter. And so, you get these fluky things that can happen. So you can bet the numbers much more in NFL, especially for these underdogs, than you can for the NBA. The NBA, I don't care how many times people are slandering the Lakers. That doesn't mean they're going to win a game. That doesn't mean they will win one. They will win some, but not against superior competition like the Clippers, right? So it's just very, very different where you could see the Colts beat the Kansas City Chiefs on a random Sunday, but that's not really happening in the NBA. So I would look at dogs. I would look at totals. I would, if you're going to bet the NFL and you're interested in really doing it, I would do it early. Look at line movement, look at where the percentage of money versus the percentage of bets, and really focus on that. And it doesn't appear that betting on the Bills is going to be an unprofitable thing. I think just find the teams that you can roll with and say, okay, well, maybe I'll just put double units on the Buffalo Bills.
I'm with it. I'm not convinced on the Lakers ever winning, by the way.
I said this yesterday too.
Dang.
Is it possible in the Los Angeles uniform? We all talk about LeBron. We can't see a scenario where there's a world where he doesn't win another championship or is back in another finals. And I'm like, bump that noise. We need to get accustomed to the reality that there's a genuine possibility that in a Lakers uniform, LeBron James never in the rest of his career goes to the playoffs again.
That's very possible. They're epically awful.
That's stunning. To think that we would be robbed and he would be robbed of the things that he can still do.
I see what you did. He would be robbed.
You did. That way. And because he looks still like the best player on the floor sometimes.
Yeah.
How dominant and this guy is only 1 year older than me. He is my age. I can't believe he's still doing these things at 37 years old.
It's a bad dude.
It's
going to be fun to watch in the regular season. Thanks, Trysta. Appreciate it.
Just my man, Kyle Madsen, who I think is probably in the queue.
Kyle Madsen.
Hey, how's it going? I finished my sandwich early today.
Nice. See, I didn't leave you in the lurch. I'm only 1 minute behind.
Yeah, totally.
I know people in the chatty house are always like, oh, if Tristan knew what a break was, if Tristan knew that we had to go to commercial. I don't know when those are. I just keep going until you tell me it's time.
No,
the thought of this happening with my boss at the station I work at, who is very hit your brakes. it gives me anxiety thinking about what he would say. But it's great. It's good content, which is what we're here to do.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I can't wait to come to Sacramento.
We realized we really love Trysta, and 12 minutes wasn't enough. And so Trysta started asking us questions. So it was like, oh, let's just make this all long.
Yeah, why not?
It's a 20-minute hit, Kyle. It's a 20. That's what I always carve out.
I tune in like on my drive home because I usually like pull up and come straight up. I'm tuned in. I really, really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. I appreciate y'all.
I agree with your LeBron takes, by the way. That team is trash.
Oh my God. And I love that because I didn't obviously plan. I knew they would be bad, but I obviously didn't plan that my Sacramento trip has, I think, 2 Laker games. I think it's 2 in like 3 days.
Oh, does it? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think they're Laker games.
That one, and then we'll go.
And then we get to see
Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cliff Kingsbury less Cardinals, because by that time he'll be gone.
By then,
he will be gone.
He stinks. Cliff sucks, bro.
He legit told him to calm the F down.
Listen, you're not about to yell at me on national TV. You need to shut up.
There was a meltdown in the Bay Area because Jimmy Garoppolo might have said to himself, "Your plays suck, man," about Kyle Shanahan. And here's Kyler Murray openly screaming, "Calm the F down" at his coach. That's
and there
insane.
was more, too. There was like a whole thing.
Oh,
I saw it live on the TV, and I'm like, ooh, fight. Put your hands on him. Put your hands on him. Shove him, Kyler.
It's on site with the coach and quarterback. That's bad.
That's right. And the guy who just came off of PED suspension is separating everybody. So
Did you guys see I'm coming, don't call it a comeback? I've never seen a PED, getting popped for PED get you a comeback video.
It's like, no, DeAndre, that's what it is. It's a comeback, bro. It's okay.
What? Yeah. Dude, that's like Tatis is in the lab right now, filming something using Omaha Productions and Draymond Green.
I'm sure he's in the lab. He's trying to figure out how he got caught. At least that's what they want to.
Like they told me, just like Brett Favre, I'd never get caught.
Oh, thank you for reminding us.
There we go. Mic drop.
Be in jail. Yeah, that's your daily reminder. Brett Favre should be serving time in prison.
Like a lot of time.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. All right, guys. Love you.